This is The Entrepreneur Way with Neil Ball. Unlocking the secrets of successful entrepreneurs 7 days a week. Subscribe to our podcast and follow us on Twitter at Neil D. Ball. Napoleon Hill said the power of the mastermind is the driving force. To discover how you can unlock the potential in your business using the power of a mastermind, go to mastermindunlimited.com. And now, here is your host, Neil Ball.
Hello everybody, it's Neil Ball here. Thank you so much for joining me today on The Entrepreneur Way. The Entrepreneur Way is about the entrepreneur's journey, the mindset, the commitment, the sacrifice, the failures and the successes. I am so excited to bring you our special guest today, Seth Rand. But before I introduce Seth to you, first of all, I'm going to give you a quote which is worth thinking about. Johann Wolfgang van Gogh said that the ignorant man raises questions that wise men answered 1,000 years ago. And because of that, the Entrepreneur Way asks the questions so we all get the insight, the inspiration and the ideas to apply in our own businesses. Seth, welcome to the show. Are you ready to share your version of the Entrepreneur Way with us?
Absolutely, Neil. I appreciate the opportunity.
Well, it's great to have you here, Seth. Seth is the founder and the CEO of Rand Internet Marketing. He has 13 years experience with websites and internet marketing. And Seth is also a speaker and an author on business and marketing topics. And he is a Google Partner All-Star and is the host of the upcoming Ecommerce Expo in South Florida, which we'll talk about later. So, Seth, can you provide us with some more insight into your business and personal life to allow the listeners to get to know more about what you do and who you are?
Absolutely, Neil. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, come from a family of small business owners and entrepreneurs, moved down to South Florida about 16 years ago. Now have a wife and 3 kids at home, a girl and 2 boys. Certainly keep me busy when I'm not at work. I first got into internet marketing working with the family business over 13 years ago. They're manufacturers and wholesalers of ladies' handbags, purses, and have been doing it since 1969. And so I had the opportunity to get involved with their website back in 2002. And after a few months, I saw that it was at the top of Google and Yahoo and MSN if you typed in wholesale handbags or wholesale purses. And I saw what an effect that had on the business, how much new business it developed. And over the following 4 years, I freelanced in the industry and got involved agency level about 9 years ago, which brings me to today, where we've built Rand Internet Marketing to be the fastest growing website design, development, and marketing firm based in South Florida with a team of 27 people in-house, helping hundreds of businesses accomplish their web and internet marketing goals.
Wow, fantastic. So what do you enjoy most about what you do, Seth?
Well, I would first off say how much I enjoy helping business owners and other entrepreneurs accomplish their goals. They've got an idea. They've got a product. They're providing a professional service. But most of them are not very educated or experienced when it comes to websites and internet marketing. And so to be able to work with those business owners and entrepreneurs to help grow their businesses cost effectively and help accomplish their goals, that absolutely is probably the brightest part of my day. I would secondly say I love creating jobs. A lot of our competitors outsource the work to India or other third world countries. And there's nothing wrong with that. But coming from a family of entrepreneurs and small business owners, it was really important to me to try and create jobs in my local community where possible. And while that sometimes may have an effect on margins, it's absolutely been the approach that we've wanted. And I know that we've been able to make a significant impact in the local community by creating jobs, high-paying jobs, and how that affects not only the employees but their families.
Excellent. So do you find that certain customers for you actually like that idea of you using locally employed people or people who
Oh, absolutely. The ones who can afford it understand that it might cost them a little bit more but it enhances the experience. If they call or they come in locally, they're able to get on the phone, not just with their sales rep or an account manager, but with the designer or developer or marketer that's actually working on their project. And that speeds up the communication and turnaround time, and in many cases increases the quality.
Excellent. So what is it that drives you? What makes you do all this? Obviously, you've had your other business, and now you've got your internet marketing business, and you're organising this expo. What makes you do this and drives you each day?
Well, again, I really think that the larger we grow as a company, that we'll be able to help more businesses and entrepreneurs accomplish their goals. Mm-hmm. We'll be able to create more jobs. And as we've grown, we've been able to give back more to the community. So each year we've been able to support additional nonprofit organizations, whether with cash donations or just providing them with a new website at no charge or other marketing consultation. And certainly on a personal level, I have the confidence as an entrepreneur that I'm capable of accomplishing certain goals, and setting them and actually hitting them is very self-fulfilling, and I think makes a good role model for my kids that if you believe in yourself and work hard for something, that you can accomplish it.
Yeah, it's good to have that self-belief, isn't it? And
very much
keep
so.
yourself challenged all the time like that. So when you're not doing all of this, how do you relax? How do you get away from it all? What is it you do?
Well, the first trick is to try and put away your cell phone. Yeah. It's increasingly difficult in today's world, but when you have that cell phone tied to you and all the emails and stuff's going off, it's really difficult. So I advise people when they get home and it's time to turn off, just go plug it into charge in the other room and kind of forget about it. Certainly spending time with my wife and 3 kids. For whatever reason, my kids still enjoy my company, and so I try to give them as much attention as I can. Yeah. I'm also a big sports fan, so we've got season tickets for the Miami Dolphins football team, the Miami Heat basketball team, and so you'll see me frequenting those games. Yeah. It's definitely one of my favorite things to do locally to kind of forget about my work and just enjoy myself for a few hours.
And do you have any entrepreneurial role models? Are there anybody that you or do you have more than one role model who you sort of look up to or you follow or that keeps you sort of on course? Or
the first that I would think of is certainly going to be my father, and even more importantly, my grandfather. Okay. My grandfather's a Holocaust survivor from Poland, spent over 5 years in the camps, immigrated to the States in 1949. And after working in sweatshops in New York City for 20 years, saved up enough money to open up his first business. And by the 1980s and 90s was a multimillionaire, and his business was doing over $40 million a year annually. Wow. So what he was able to accomplish and overcome is certainly an example that I think about and turn to on a regular basis as a model of overcoming adversity, hard work, not making excuses for why you can't do something, and finding a way around it to accomplish it. There's some other young entrepreneurs, both in my industry and out of it, that have also been able to, at a young age, build up, in the B2B industry. Luke Freeman with Wizard Creations is one of them. And others that I've had the privilege of working with. And those people are ones that I really try to build partnerships with, where we can refer business to each other, because I know that they're young, hardworking entrepreneurs that have similar mindsets and goals. And I find that those are great people to surround myself with and refer business to.
Well, your grandfather certainly sounds like an inspiration there, I must say. It sounds amazing.
Thank you.
So, Seth, can we just take you back to the time before you were an entrepreneur, if that's possible, with your journey there? So, what difficulties did you have to overcome when you started your business?
Capital is always, one of the first ones, right? What comes first, the chicken or the egg? How do you get the business started and do it right without having a major capital investment?
Yeah.
And so I would definitely advise people, maybe not exactly the way I did it, but I would tell them to plan for at least 6 months, unless it's something that just you have to strike while the iron's hot. Try to save up some money. Try to reduce some of your expenses. Put yourself in a position where it'll be easier to transition from that full-time employee role into that new business. And I would also say that one of the other challenges is finding the right talent, people to work with you. When you are a new company and you're young, you can't necessarily afford to pay people the top dollar. And so you really have to find people that share your vision and are willing to put in the hard work to grow along with you in your organization.
So when you started your business, did you have any doubts that delayed you starting your business in any way?
No, actually. From the time I decided that I was ready, we opened up our first office 3 weeks later.
Wow, that's superb.
It was really a 21-day process of finding a location, signing a lease, ordering phone systems and office equipment, and it was quite a whirlwind and then went quickly. I would say I had no doubt, based on my experience in this industry and the reputation I built up, I had no doubt that we would be able to, pay our bills and grow the company. More of the challenge was when was it time to make that second step, that next step into expanding into a larger office space and doubling down on the dream, if you would say.
Yeah.
And that was one that I hesitated on a little bit longer than taking that first step.
Yeah, you sound like a take action guy there. Just get in there and get on with it. Yeah, it's a good way to go. So what mistakes did you make that slowed that journey? I mean, you must have made some mistakes in getting in there and just getting on with it. Was there anything that sort of slowed you down?
I would say that a big one was getting sidetracked with side projects.
Yeah.
So one example was in affiliate marketing, and I knew that there was a demand for it, but it's not at the core of what we did. And when I started exploring it, I saw that if we could pull it off, that there was big revenue available.
Yeah.
But in the end of the day, it sidetracked me from our core successful, profitable business, and in the process, slowed down our growth.
Yeah.
I've allowed that to happen 2 or 3 times over the past 6 years. And while it certainly wasn't catastrophic because we had so many positive things going, it absolutely, I would consider it a mistake and something that I hope not to repeat again in the future.
Yeah.
Try to stay focused on your core, and until your core is really stable and really strong, don't try venturing out too much outside of it. My Aunt Helene used to say to me, if you try spending your time doing 5 things, it's not possible to do them all 100%.
Yeah.
And to stay focused and do a great job at one thing and then add a second thing without getting too distracted.
Yeah, so this bright, shiny object syndrome, I think that's about it, isn't it, to some extent?
And entrepreneurs absolutely suffer from it.
Yeah.
It's in our blood. It's in our hearts.
Oh.
And so it doesn't mean that there aren't times to do it. It's just a matter of is it what I would call a calculated risk, and is it the right time and right opportunity? Because you have to be very careful and calculated when you actually take a chance on that bright, shiny object.
Yeah, so it's very much about getting the balance of all that right, isn't it? I think, yeah. So, Seth, if we can just sort of move forward slightly now and move to your entrepreneurial journey itself. Is culture important from the beginning in a business? What would you say about that?
I would say that for our business, it wound up not being where we started. Culture was not the most important. Certainly people who shared our vision of producing high-quality work for local businesses and helping other business owners and entrepreneurs accomplish their goals, that was important, but it wasn't so much about culture initially. We definitely evolved and developed a culture over the past few years, and it's continually evolving. I would tell you that part of that culture is getting feedback from the team members that you have. What could you do that would enhance their workday, make them more productive, make them more comfortable, make them feel more personally invested, help make sure that they're see themselves as a part of the growing organization long term. And so we've done all kinds of little things, from celebrating every employee's birthday to when we get all these gift baskets at the holidays, raffling them off. And I get so many bottles of wine this past December, there's no way I could drink them all. So, giving them away to the staff, and even with the sports tickets, inviting the staff to join me at the basketball game or the football game, and these various things in order to help build a culture. I would tell you that my way, again, wouldn't necessarily be the best way. I've seen other examples where trying to start with the right culture at an organization such as Google has definitely been crucial to their success. But in our case, we definitely put the business first and have evolved the culture as we've gone.
Yeah, I think there seems to be two sort of thoughts on this. Some people like to set it in place before they start, as you say, like Google, and then other people, it's something that develops as they go along. And it's just interesting to see how different people have different perspectives on this. So just thinking along that sort of theme, how much does gut feeling influence your decisions in your business?
Tremendously. I only did a few semesters at college. I don't have any big fancy degrees. I didn't work for Fortune 500 companies, getting an education, kind of working under a big, C-level executive before becoming an entrepreneur. I've had to learn a lot on the job, and making those gut decisions is really a big part. What I would also say, taking calculated risks. It's not always jumping in, but it's saying, do I think that this is a calculated risk? I still am involved in every interview that the company runs, because I want to make sure, do I have that gut feeling that this person, regardless of their technical skills or resume, do I think that they're going to fit within our organization, mesh well with the team, work well with our culture, and be a long-term fit for our organization? Choosing where to spend our advertising and marketing dollars, what trade shows to exhibit at, even sometimes turning down a client and having a gut feeling that says, I know that there's an opportunity to sign a client here, but I think they're going to be more headache than they're worth. Kind of what they call the 80-20 rule. 20% of your clients are 80% of your problems.
Oh, absolutely.
And can you identify that before you take on the client in order to, not have to make that decision after the fact? And so definitely rely a lot on my gut feelings when making decisions.
Yeah, someone once said to me that the art of good business is knowing what bad business is.
That's right. I like that one.
Yeah, so knowing what you know now, is there anything, if you'd known it when you started out, would have helped you to shortcut that learning curve?
I would tell you I probably would have tried to make larger budgets to hire more experienced talent early on, as opposed to starting with what I thought I could afford. Actually, my friends at Google, since we're a Google Partner All-Star, I had the pleasure of visiting the Googleplex in Mountain View, California twice this summer.
Awesome.
And they brought in the people who train the Google employees to help train their top-level partners. And one of the things that they told us was that if you pay for the right talent, they'll produce better results. They'll produce the work faster. And so in the end, you're going to have less stress and produce better results and have a better business. So when we first started, I was, definitely trying to hire on a budget. And knowing what I know now, I definitely would have been more aggressive about getting more talent and experience early on. And that absolutely would have sped up the learning curve and the growth here at Rand.
That's some great advice. I totally agree with you on that. Actually, I found that in the business that I had. And it's one of those things you learn later on, isn't it, sometimes?
Yes.
You think you can save money and you can train people up, and it's just better to get straight in there. And for the amount of money that you save, you more than gain, I think, don't you? So that's excellent. Right. So, Seth, life is made of constant change, whether we like it or not. So the only constant in life, I think, is change. How do you actually try to keep up with change in business and in your personal life?
Well, the first thing is you need to schedule time every month. One of the big mistakes that, and I don't necessarily say it's always a mistake, but one of the things that new entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs often make is they're so busy working in their business that they didn't have enough time to work on their business. They're so busy hands-on producing work that they don't get to take a few steps back and take the time to schedule and plan and such. So I would definitely advise, even if they're still earlier on and have to be busy producing, they haven't grown to that next level yet, to budget some time every week or every month in order to work on the business as opposed to in the business. The other thing for me personally is I like to read articles. I subscribe to many websites. I get a bunch of magazines in the mail. I definitely do more of it online than in print today, but whereas I may not read many books, I read a ton of articles from people that I respect, admire, trust as experts, whether it be in business or finance or in my specific web and advertising and marketing industry, in order to try and stay on top of what are the latest technologies and trends, and very often take things that I read in those articles and quickly try to implement some minor changes within our business in order to keep up with that.
Excellent. So that's probably a great segue to talk a little bit more about the Expo that you're organising. So can you tell us a little bit more about what it is you're organising and who it's for and when it is? Absolutely.
I'm super excited to share with you that we're going to be hosting our second annual Ecommerce Expo South Florida. It will be taking place on February 17th, 2016 at the Bahia Mar Hotel on Fort Lauderdale Beach. So for all of you who do not yet live in South Florida, it's a great opportunity to escape the winter weather and head down to Fort Lauderdale Beach. We've even secured group rates at the hotel. It's going to be a full-day event. It's going to feature 13 speakers, including C-level executives from some of the top e-commerce related companies in the world, as well as representatives from Fortune 500 companies such as UPS. Even Google's going to be sending a featured speaker to the Expo. Topics will include design, development, marketing, security, hosting, sales tax, mobile, email marketing, shipping, and all kinds of other topics related to e-commerce. It's a great event for anybody in manufacturing or retailing, whether they're currently selling e-commerce or thinking about it. And the event is free to attend. It's absolutely no cost with RSVP. You can learn more about the Expo by visiting ecommercesfl.com. That's ecommercesfl.com. And on there's a link in order to RSVP online. And if you RSVP before January 31st, you'll be entered to win a pair of tickets to an upcoming Miami Heat or Florida Panthers game here in South Florida.
Excellent. Thanks for sharing that with us, Seth. So if we can just fast forward into sort of the future, what one thing would you do with your business if you knew that you could not fail?
That's a really good question. I would say hire more aggressively. Because we're not producing product here, where we could just contact a factory overseas and say, hey, we need double the product over the coming weeks to fill new orders. Here, it's really about acquiring talent and getting the right people on staff, getting them up to speed on our way of doing things, and getting them into the workflow. And so sometimes based on cash flow, you have to hesitate and say, hey, should we continue to hire? What if we don't land that account? What if we don't retain that account? Can we afford to continue to increase the payroll? And if I knew that we would continue to land those accounts and retain those accounts, I would hire even more aggressively than we already are. Because we've been growing over 60% a year for the past 2 years, and anticipate making the Inc. 5000 list this coming year. We are in the process of hiring again now and being pretty aggressive about it based on our confidence. But absolutely, that's one of the things in the back of my mind is how aggressively do we hire that top-level talent and experience, coupled with that tinge of worry, hey, are we really going to continue growing at this pace or not?
So how long have you been growing at that sort of rate?
The last 2 years, we were in a smaller office space from when we opened Rand Marketing in January 2010 until September 2013. In 2013 is when we took the big leap and said, if we're going to continue to grow, we need a much bigger office space and an environment that will allow us to grow. And once we moved into a new space that's 4 times the size, it took a few months for us to get settled in. But since March 2014, we've really been on a tear and have more than doubled the company over that time.
Wow. How have you coped with that level of growth? Because I know from my experience, it puts a lot of strains on all your systems and things. So how do you deal with that?
It does, and it's definitely been challenging. Certainly leads to some long hours for the business owner. But definitely it's been about, we've invested heavily into upgrading our IT infrastructure. We've invested recently into upgrading our softwares and processes and procedures, including adding a support ticket system, splitting off the project management and support tickets, creating a client portal where the clients can log in to see the status of their project or support tickets. Again, hiring more frequently and more aggressively to keep up with the anticipated demand. And a really big part was securing a business loan from a bank. When you're growing at that rate, the cash flow cannot sustain the investments needed to sustain that growth. The amount of money you have, time and money you have to spend hiring and training and acquiring more furniture and equipment and software, what that cost is per new employee. And as a young entrepreneur, a new business, it can be very difficult in order to secure that financing from a bank. We were very pleased that 2 smaller banks based here in South Florida, Bank United and Iberia Bank, both stepped up to the plate. And once we'd been in business over 5 years and had proven our track record, and we were able to secure very, very favorable loans that took our debt service from almost 12% a month to under 2% a month. And that was really one of those big game changers that allowed us to continue to invest in our own growth and has allowed us to fund doing things like the upcoming Ecommerce Expo.
Excellent. I think that makes me think about something that someone said to me many years ago. Cash is king ultimately in business.
Yes, cash is king. And very often in a growing business, if you don't have the cash, credit is king. And so the ability to get a bank, what I would advise people to do is to build a relationship with what I'll call a mid-level bank, not one of the big 10 banks that is really looking to lend to billion-dollar companies. Find strong, large enough, but more regional banks, not something too small, and build a relationship with them. Build up a credit history, use their product, grow with them, because the ability to get a longer-term, lower-interest loan is crucial to be able to fund that continued growth without having to take on a capital investment or a business partner.
Mm-hmm. Excellent advice. So, Seth, what skill, if you were excellent at it, would help you the most to double your business right now? I mean, obviously you're doing 60% now, so you're getting close to it already. But you could push it a bit further, couldn't you?
Time management is definitely one of those things that's always a work in progress.
Yeah.
How to better use my time efficiently, what to delegate and what to keep for myself. And I would also say organizational skills. We don't invite people into my private office without cleaning it up first.
Yeah.
It's a working chaos. Mm-hmm. But definitely if I could be more organized, improve my time management skills, delegate better, that would make me more efficient and allow us to continue to grow at potentially even a faster rate.
Okay, so projecting a little bit further forward now, in 5 years from now, if a well-known business publication was publishing an article on your business after talking to your customers and your suppliers, what would you like it to say about you and your business?
I would want them to say, that's a group of honest, hardworking people who really care about their clients and their client success, mm-hmm. who stay on top of the latest technologies, are proactive, not reactive, and really care to learn about our businesses and put the time and energy needed in, make that investment in order to see their clients grow. That's definitely what my wish is. If somebody was talking about my business.
Sounds good. We'll have to do that now. Sounds like you're already on track for that, but it's the sort of thing you're aiming for, so that's really good. Now, we're at the part of the show now where you share 3 golden nuggets with us. So, Seth, what is your favourite quote and how have you applied it in your life or in your business?
There's 2 quotes that I've hung on the wall in the office. Mm-hmm. One of them is one that I heard and repeat, which is proactive, not reactive. Yeah. The fact is that nobody needs you. They choose to work with you. Yeah. You're not the only game in town. Mm-hmm. You might be a little better at it than others. You might have some more experience, but people still have to choose to work with you. And part of that choice is that they don't have to chase you down, ask you, hey, do you have any suggestions? Hey, can I get an update on my project? You have to be proactive, not only in updates, but in suggestions and other advice. Over here, we try to make sure that we update the clients at least once every 2 weeks. Yep. We believe that once a month just isn't enough to make them feel like we're thinking about them throughout the month and are on top of our game on their behalf. The second one is one that I came up with for ourselves for internal use, mm-hmm. and it's what we call the 3R's of Rand. Okay. Results, retention, referrals. Sure. Internally, we believe that if we get results for the clients, it's going to lead to retention. Yeah. If we get results for the clients, it's going to lead to increased ad budgets. Yeah. If we get results for the clients, it's going to lead to referrals. Mm-hmm. And so if we just focus on being proactive instead of reactive and getting results for the clients, whether that's delivering a high-quality website in a timely fashion or achieving their advertising or marketing goals, hitting certain CPA goals, client acquisition goals, and such, that it will lead to the retention and referrals desired in order to continue to grow the company at the faster pace that we have without requiring big investments into advertising for ourselves. Yeah.
In fact, you just talked about something there that I'm particularly interested in, which is referrals. Do you do anything proactive in terms of actually trying to secure those referrals, or do you hope that they'll come from the service that you deliver?
There was a program I went to, got to be 10 or 12 years ago now. It was called By Referral Only.
Yeah, I know that. It's by, I know the guy.
It was a bit of a cult at the time. And
Joe Stumpf, I think he's called, isn't he?
Yeah, but there were some little nuggets in there, right? Some little things that stuck with me.
Yeah.
One had to do with these dirty yellow signs and handwriting on the coroplast yard signs instead of printing full color. Mm-hmm. But one of the big ones that I still practice today is you have to ask for the referral.
Yeah.
You can't assume that they're just going to think about it and give it to you. You have to say, do you happen to know of somebody that might benefit from my services, such as website design or internet marketing?
Yeah.
And then their brain's going to think about it and say, you know what? When I was at lunch with my neighbor last weekend, he mentioned that he might be looking for that. And they'll put the connection together in their head. And so you definitely have to ask for that referral. And the other part is something I mentioned earlier. We're really proactive about building up our referral partnerships, our affiliates and referral partners around the country and around the world.
Yeah.
Who is it that's already successfully doing business with the companies that you want to do business with, providing them a different product or service? And if you can build a reputation with them, build a relationship with them, and earn their referrals, again, very low risk, investing in the relationship, and what that turns into. And I can tell you that that's a big part of our growth, is not just the referrals that we get from active clients, but sometimes even more so, the referrals we get from other B2B companies that are providing different services to our target client base.
Yeah. So strategic partnerships, I think some people call that, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, another great strategy for doing that. You sound like you're really on top of referrals there, which is a good thing to see, because I think so many businesses don't think about that, do they? Because it's so much easier to just go and pay for another advert and hope you get a new customer. And the best customers are your existing customers.
Doing that, you might be able to grow 20% a year, but you're just not going to be able to grow 50 or 60% a year doing that. Again, while an entrepreneur without a big capital investment or something, doing it based on your own cash flow. If you don't have that retention, if you don't have those referrals, you just, are going to be capped as to how quickly you can grow.
Absolutely. And the other thing about referrals, as you probably know, is somebody who is actually referred to you is more likely to refer someone else to you. That's the other thing about it.
That's right. And it's an easier sale. It's a quicker sales cycle. Yeah. There's less barriers less objections to overcome. So the whole process is better than leads that you're getting through advertising. And I have to be careful here because a big part of my business is selling those advertising and marketing services. And so it's not that there's something wrong with it. Yeah. It's just a matter of don't rely solely on that for new business. Do a good job with the clients that you do have in order to get the repeat business or retention and referrals, and on top of making the strategic investments into advertising and marketing. And the combination of that's really the winning formula.
Yeah, some brilliant advice there, Seth. So, Seth, do you have any favorite online resources that you can share that would be useful for our listeners?
I would tell you, within my particular industry of search engine marketing, my personal expertise, I follow two people. One's name is Danny Sullivan. Another goes by the name Rand Fishkin. His first name happens to be my last name. I follow websites like Search Engine Land, Search Engine Watch, Search Engine Journal. Going a little broader, I follow Website Magazine, Visibility Magazine, Business.com, American Express's Open Forum, Yahoo Small Business, and a few others, socialmediatoday.com. Many of these sites I'm actually a contributing author for, but I follow the others to stay on top of the articles that they're publishing, again, both in web and internet marketing as well as in just business tactics overall, CRMs and time management, financial, organizational skills, and various things to stay on top of what's the latest suggestions and trends.
No, there's certainly plenty to go out there. So just thinking about all of your experience, what is the best advice you'd give to other entrepreneurs?
take calculated risks. Listen to those gut feelings that you have. Don't take every risk, but take calculated risks. Mm-hmm. For me, I usually determine that as, it might not be a baseball analogy, forgive me. Mm-hmm. It might not always be a home run, but I'm at least going to get a single. Am I at least going to get to first base from it? Yeah. Are the chances highly likely that I'll at least make back my investment? Mm-hmm. And it might be very successful, but there's a low risk that I'll lose my investment, that it was a complete waste of time. And so as opposed to always swinging for the fences and trying to hit a home run, how do you consistently make good choices where you consistently get on base and make progress? Take those calculated risks. Be proactive, not reactive. Value the clients you have and earn to their repeat business and their referrals. And as I mentioned, establish that good local banking relationship, so that way as you grow and have a need for getting that strong competitive small business loan, that you'll be able to, as opposed to trying to find it later on.
Excellent advice there. Thank you. So everyone, if you didn't manage to get a note of Seth's favourite resources, and there's quite a few to go out here, you can find the links on Seth's show notes page. Just go to theentrepreneurway.com and search for Seth, or search for Seth Rand. That's RAND in the search box. Okay, Seth, is there anything else that you'd like to add about your business?
No, I really appreciate you taking the time, and to those listeners for listening in. Please visit Rand Marketing, RAND marketing.com for more info on our company. And if you are in Florida or planning a visit to escape the winter, please visit ecommercesfl.com to learn more about our upcoming Expo.
Thank you. It has been an absolute honor having you on the show, Seth. You provided us with some real insight and useful information into the way that the entrepreneur thinks. You've inspired us all, and you have certainly given us a lot to think about. So thank you very much, Seth.
Thank you, Neil.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to The Entrepreneur Way. Subscribe to our podcast and follow us on Twitter @Neil D. Ball.